A sub-elf was tied in the center of the Imperial Square to be sacrificed to the legendary Black Dragon because the king and the wizard were preparing to catch it, set up a trap. At this moment, the bound elf has lifeless eyes and looked up at the sky in despair. At this moment, the crowd began to panic. A huge black shadow flew over the Imperial City. After seeing clearly, it was found to be the legendary Black Dragon, and the Black Dragon also pounced directly on the elf in the square. In an instant, the thick chain snapped. The elf was caught by the dragon's claws and flew into the air. Seeing this scene, the wizard in black robe ordered an attack. Countless soldiers began to attack. Then countless swordsmen flew towards the Black Dragon, and the black-robed wizard's magic was also ready. The violent purple lightning condensed in the air and directly hit the Black Dragon. The lightning dispersed. The Black Dragon endured the pain and fled the square with the elf until he brought the elf back to his cave. He fell into a coma due to the injury and fell to the ground. When he opened his eyes again, I was occupied by a young man in society. I began to curse. Who spilled water into my circuit? Which made me unable to use the handbrake, but the next second, I was startled by the sound I made. I covered my mouth, sweat profusely, thinking I hadn't woken up yet. Later, I was even more surprised to find that my hands had turned into black scaly claws. Jinjay instinctively wanted to escape, but found that his body was out of control. Then I made intimate contact with the ground. I looked up in shock and saw my eyes enlarged, sweat profusely. I saw a western black dragon reflected on the water. I quickly looked at my body. I immediately realized that I had turned into a black dragon, or the crippled one. Suddenly, my eyes lit up. I found a stunning beauty lying on the side. I immediately had a fantasy to give her an artificial respiration. But then 3 prompts interrupted me, which made me stunned for a few seconds. Others only have 1 system when they cross over, but I have 3. Could I be the legendary god of destiny? But the next second, the system prompt came. Too many systems. Automatically fused into the ultimate invincible. Self-transformation, super evolution, plunder war, dragon system. I only need to increase the favorability of female characters to obtain special abilities and system points, or kill players of the righteous forces. You can also get system points. And system points can be used to strengthen and transform various parts. Hearing the players' discussions, I suspected that I had entered the game world. I couldn't help asking. But the system didn't misunderstand and issued a task that insulted Long Pavilion. After cursing the unscrupulous system, I took out the books on me and studied them. I have to say this book on color quality is really good. At this time, I looked at the sleeping princess. The power of the flood instantly gushed out. I threw the book in my hand away. What time is it? And you still have the mood to reward yourself. At this moment, the system voice sounded. She is a 3S level beauty, but the outrageous thing is that her lifespan is only 2 days. I was immediately filled with grief. Sure enough, there is no such good thing. Suddenly, the princess tightly clamped my dragon tail, saying it's so warm here. The touch from her tail made me feel weak all over. But as a young man and growing up under the red flag, I immediately found a piece of animal skin to cover her, but unexpectedly increased her favorability by 10 points. But at this time, my stomach felt a strong sense of hunger. I begged the system to give me something useful, such as a newbie gift package. He mercifully gave me a temporary recovery card, but after the time limit, it will make me even weaker. I was instantly petrified. Isn't this just overusing my own energy? But there is no other way now. It's unrealistic to rely on that girl to save me. I gritted my teeth. I used the temporary recovery card. Then I went to the forest to pick a mushroom. Then I found a lot of hidden meat. Suddenly, a large number of birds scattered everywhere. I saw 3 silver moon wolves running towards me, ready to steal my food. This made me furious. I'm a dragon after all. They dared to steal my food. I directly spat out a dragon flame, which instantly burned a silver moonwolf to ashes. Then I killed another one with a normal attack. The last one was killed by me with 1 bite. Then I roared to the sky with dragon roar and dragon power, which scared all the creatures in the forest. Suddenly I felt movement in the cave. So I hurried back to the cave to check. I traveled through and became a destructive, evil black dragon, and I took a princess with animal ears as my wife. However, the princess was seriously injured and in a coma, so I had to go out to find food. When I returned to the cave, I didn't find the princess pretending to be unconscious. Just as I was thinking about how to feed her, she suddenly got up and stabbed me with a sharp stone. I slightly raised my hand and stuffed the fruit into her mouth. The stone bounced out the moment it touched the dragon's paw. He spit out the fruit that was blocking his mouth. She asked me in horror if I was going to eat her, although I made the most friendly appearance to assure him. But in his eyes, my appearance was ferocious, a roaring evil dragon. He fainted again. He fainted again directly. Fortunately, I was rewarded 30 system points for killing 3 wolves. I spent 10 points to buy the recommended Chinese herb, but I didn't know how to feed it for a moment. Finally, I did something against my principle. I put Wang Xin in my mouth and chewed it up, and then grabbed him and fed the Hongtin in my mouth to him. The next second, the effect of the temporary recovery card disappeared. A strong sense of dizziness hit me, and then my eyelids became heavy and slowly closed. At this time, the princess was dreaming of a desert, dry and thirsty. From a distance, a dark shadow flew in the sky. She thought it was the legendary Dark Horse Prince to save her, but when he saw it was me, the British, she was instantly awakened from the fainting, just waking up. She found herself wrapped in my huge body and a bitter smell of traditional Chinese medicine. He saw the residue of the medicine on my mouth. He immediately realized that the dragon in front of him saved him. His favorability increased by 20 points directly. He gathered courage and called me. Seeing that I didn't wake up, thinking that he stabbed the dragon, he quickly put the dragon's head on his lap, praying that I could wake up. At this time, the system sent a prompt. When the favorability reached the first stage, I gained ability and got 2,000 system points. I was reincarnated as a black dragon that destroys the world, but also stole a princess with animal ears as my wife. Then my wife Anna not only wasn't afraid of my majestic figure, but also praised me for being mighty and domineering and wants to give birth to a dragon baby. This is the reward I deserve for saving the beauty. Then I was woken up by hunger on Anna's lap. Every cell in my body was screaming for food. The desire to eat made me involuntarily reach out to Anna. I couldn't help swallowing my saliva. If it were made into a roast chicken, would it be more delicious? But then I shook my head. How could I have such an idea? Her favorability is now as high as 90 points. At this moment, Anna suddenly coughed out a bottle of 1892 Lafite. I saw that he only had 1 day left to live. His favorability has been updated in the system store. There are many healing drugs in the store. But my eyes were still attracted by a dress. The dragon's face turned red. He turned around and looked at the naked Anna. I decisively spent 100 system points to buy it. The next second, the dress automatically wore on Anna, which made me excited. I quickly covered my eyes. After all, there are barbs on the dragon's body. Soon, I opened the system and planned to treat her first. I quickly found an eye transformation, which can give me the Chuji insight. I couldn't wait to. I asked the system to install the invincible heavy armor, but the next second, I was in pain and rolled on the ground. After the pain, a magical scene appeared. All Anna's diseases appeared in front of me. It's a miracle that she can live until now. Then a human voice came from the cave entrance. I immediately lay on the rock wall to observe. I found that they were all a bunch of mercenaries, and a big knight that was easy for me to handle, and a magician who looked big-breasted but brainless. She was originally a princess, but was kidnapped by me, a revived dragon, but only 1 day passed. He was tortured by my dragon brother. She held me and wanted to have a baby with me, but before they started, a group of idiots came to deliver food. This file, I directly crowned him as the Dark Knight. After strengthening, I felt I was incredibly strong. But in order not to affect Emma, I decided to go outside the forest to deal with them. That little dish immediately led a group of idiots to chase me. The magician, who I thought was stupid at first, now he felt something was wrong. He immediately guessed. I was hiding a rare treasure in the cave and was going to steal my home. After flying out of the forest, I directly dive with the dragon and start a counterattack. With a few punches and kicks, I defeated these, who don't deserve their names. And this was Knight of the Vegetable was still full of confidence. He slashed at me, but he didn't even cut off a single dragon hair. I thought there was a flea on me, which made the Knight of the Vegetables furious. I didn't hold back anymore. I performed a trick of disappearing with a mouthful of phlegm. After seeing my wonderful performance, the trash started to run away in all directions. I wouldn't let the free experience points go to waste. I swept the army with a dragon tail. But I still didn't expect a scum could use the Lingbo microstep. He ran 100 meters in 3 steps, which made me dumbfounded. At this time, the system voice came. I gained 150 system points, but I always felt something was wrong. I suddenly remembered there was a female mage. I flew directly to the cave. After returning to the cave, I was discovered by the mage who was treating Anna and directly launched a sneak attack on me. A huge web condensed by magic covered towards me, and I was directly tied up due to my carelessness. Then the mage walked up to me and smiled at me with a lewd expression. The woman wanted to take my Xian. She broke into my lair alone. She used the magic net to trap me by surprise and showed a lewd expression. Suddenly, she took her staff and attacked my paper sound. I instantly burst out with the power of the flood. I tore the magic restraint with one palm and then pressed her to the ground. I asked her what she was going to do, but only then did I remember. Humans and dragons not only have reproductive isolation, but also language. I wanted to modify my vocal cords. I found that I still needed 20 system points. When I was in trouble, the system reminded me that it could provide loan services. Seeing the 50% profit, I cursed the system as an unscrupulous profiteer. Even loan sharks shook their heads, but there was no other way for the time being. I could only accept this high-interest loan. After the transformation was successful, I angrily asked them their purpose. I learned that they were mercenaries hired by the king because the prince's finger had a problem. They need to eat my chicken and dragon heart. I was instantly furious. This damn old soldier, I definitely want to dismember you into 5 pieces. The king in the distance suddenly sneezed and scolded his men for their incompetence. He hasn't brought my minister back yet. And now I had tied the female mage up with turtle armor and started to check the spoils. I found that he still had healing potions. I quickly asked if he could heal. He thought I wanted to heal him, and he refused to die. I don't waste any more words. I directly raised my hand. I tore off the vines on the female mage. I carried her to Anna and said, "Treat her." He asked me if I knew that Anna was not a princess. Of course not. How could a human give birth to a cute tiger-eared girl? He asked me why I saved him. I said I did it because we were good friends. Otherwise, I could just say, because I'm greedy for her body. It's just a dream. This sentence also moved the female magician, which instantly increased her favorability by 20. And I also saw his panel. I found that he was also a 3S level person.